Let's start now, because then I will forget. All right. So, guys, did you have enough time to discuss all of the questions, or not really?
Not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Okay. So I know it can be really hard to imagine that just in a few days we're going to start a new semester, because we've just finished the old one, the previous one, and well, it feels like we need like a week off. But still, what are your expectations from this term? You can speak up and share. If not, then I will be naming some people. Okay, let's start with Anna Parhomenko. Can you share? You were a new teacher, am I right?
Yeah, I'm a junior, actually.
Okay, so what are your expectations from this term?
Well, from this term, I think I expect to be more time productive, like to plan my lessons in that way so that I can do every exercise that I plan to, or when I plan for the exercise to take up 5 minutes, I wanted to take up 5 minutes and not less or not more, because usually I have problems with that. And also just expect to have a good time with my students. I expect them to be active, and I expect us to have a great time together, because I really want them to like me so that I can share something interesting with them. So that's
Yeah.
basically it.
Okay, so I hope that everything will go just as you wish it to be. And let's talk more about challenges that you might face. And I want a few people to share the challenges that you think you might face. What do you think are the major challenges?
Light problems.
Yeah, electricity. Well, okay, apart from electricity, because it is something that we cannot change, yeah, we can only accept it and perhaps find some place to work from. But in terms of teaching, in terms of, I don't know, dealing with students. Come again?
But these electricity problems might have some consequences on studying process, because the students are not able to complete self-studies sometimes, or also they skip the lessons and later it's hard for them to understand the topic.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Ага,
Анастасія?
давайте зберемо. Боярчук Анастасія Прокопенко, так? Угу. Зараз дивлюся. Отже, підкажіть, будь ласка, який курс вас цікавить? Я запропоную вам можливі графіки.
Please mute Lisa.
Okay. All right, Anastasia Garega, I guess that you wanted to say something.
Yes, I wanted to say something, but something strange happened. Okay, so some difficulties that might happen in my group is like mixed ability students in my group, because it is like some students continue to study in green country, but some students are new and they have the first semester here, and I need to explain them some new rules in our company and what they are going to do at the lessons, that they are going to speak only English, but other students might be just bored while this. So I want to create some exercises, some activities, maybe using some online tools to make this process more exciting for them.
You mean these ice-breaking activities, yes?
Yes.
That's wonderful. Okay, wish you luck. And guys, speaking of some challenges that we might face, I want to show you one picture. Let's look here. So, what do these words have in common? What problem is shown in this picture?
Translation.
I'm sorry, can you repeat? I guess it's either me having some problems with the internet, or I just didn't hear.
Silent letter.
Yeah, so what word is it? The first one.
Like library?
Yes, and what do our students usually say? How do they pronounce this word? They don't say library, what do they say?
Library.
Yes, and what is this word? What do we call
Salmon.
this?
Salmon?
Yes, and our students say salmon. Yes. These are the words that are often mispronounced. And now I want you to brainstorm some other words that your students often mispronounce. I will send you the link so you could join and write in this on this board. Just give me a second. Okay, here is the link. Oh no. Oh, sorry, guys. Give me a second. Something went wrong. Oh, yeah, here it is. Open this link, join the board, and write the words that are often mispronounced by your student. If you can't open the link, you can scan the code on the screen. Okay. What? Microwave, and what do students say? How do they pronounce this word?
Microwave
Uh-huh.
all the time.
Okay, close, yeah. Oh, yeah, desert and dessert, right? Kno, right? Yeah, receipt. Virus, does it say virus? Like from Russian,
Yes.
from Ukraine?
Yeah.
Okay. Cycling, yeah. Okay. Good. Women, sociable. What's wrong with backpack? What does it say?
They say backpack.
Okay. Right. All right. Yeah. So, chocolate area, pew, right? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So, what do you usually do when you hear your student mispronounce the words? How do you correct them? What do you do in such situations?
Like
Drilling
write
the
down
pronunciation.
Okay, yeah. So as you understand, today we'll be talking about pronunciation and different features of pronunciation. And have you ever had an experience of teaching pronunciation, not only drilling like the word, but teaching it in depth, like teaching different sounds, connected speech, and so on? Have you ever had such experience during
Yeah.
your last?
Yeah, yes, steps 1 till 8, also step boosters, they have such tasks and lessons.
And do you think your students understood why they were doing such tasks, pronunciation tasks? Did they understand the importance of pronunciation tasks?
All
Or
of
they were
them
just
think
doing?
that it's unimportant.
Yes, that is something that we can skip, yes, because it doesn't, as they think, convey special meaning. You don't learn any words, you don't learn any grammar structures, you don't practice speaking skills, you don't read a text. So it is something that they think they might skip, and why do we need to waste time on it? But do you, as teachers, while teaching these topics, for example, pronunciation tasks, did you as teachers understand the importance back then when you had to teach these tasks?
Yes, of course.
Did you understand why it is important?
Yeah.
Okay, and why?
Because when you hear the pronunciation of these words and it's not correct, you understand the assignment and you practice more with them.
Yes, so pronunciation is considered to be as important as any other aspect of English, as vocabulary, as a grammar part, yes, speaking part. So we need to spend more time on it, and we need to teach our students how to pronounce the words correctly, how to work with different sounds. But to do that, we need to be aware of what we teach, of what aspects of pronunciation we teach, when exactly we teach it, and how we can teach pronunciation. And that is exactly that we are going to do now. You will have some brainstorming task in which you will have to discuss some of the questions, and then I will tell you the answers to these questions, and we will discuss in details what can be done, how it can be done, and when exactly it can be done. So you will have to work in groups. Once again, you have to open the document in chat. I have already sent you the link, and you will be working with task 1. You can find some questions there, and you have to discuss these questions. You will have 5 minutes to discuss these questions. Okay. So, join the rooms, please.
Sorry, I got disconnected. Had to change into mobile service because electricity went off. Can you explain what we are doing?
Yes, sure. So you need to open the link in chat and join the breakout room and discuss the questions in task 1. Just share
Yes. Can you share
information.
the link again, please?
Yeah, sure. You need to share with your colleagues what you know about pronunciation, when we teach it, and so on. And I think that I have already added you to the group.
Yep,
Can you join?
thank you.
Withdraw? Can you also join?
progress.
Oh, some of you have already finished, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, we will check out together. Let's wait for others.
Were we supposed to discuss the task 1 only? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, we already.
Have you done everything already?
No. We had attempt to discuss task 2.
Then we can do our next task. But okay. All right. Let me close the rooms. And let's wait for others to join. We've got 30 seconds to leave the rooms, but they're still discussing something. Teachers are so responsible. Okay, so everyone is here, so we can discuss it all together in details. We have already partially discussed why we need to teach pronunciation, but still I want others to speak up, and I want, let me choose somebody, Dasha Kichano, to say why do you think we need to teach pronunciation?
Of course, firstly, that we need to talk, why do we need to teach pronunciation is because we need to read the words correctly. And of course, it's very important to for other people to understand us, because maybe when you say as my group mate said, Iceland without not island, maybe native speakers won't understand you. So it is a main point of teaching pronunciation.
Exactly, I agree with you. So pronunciation is the main barrier to understanding something and to us being understood by others. So, for example, you might have some poor knowledge of grammar and you might make some grammar mistakes, but people will still be able to understand you, at least catch the main idea of what you want to say, to convey. But if you mispronounce the words, they will think that your English is incomprehensible, even if it's not, yeah? And they're likely to pay less attention to what you say than when you just make some grammar mistakes. But it doesn't mean that you could speak with mistakes, with grammar mistakes. And of course, being able to pronounce the words correctly, knowing the rules, how to pronounce the words, where to put a word stress, helps us with listening skills, so we can understand fast speech, we can understand native speakers, and sometimes if we talk about teaching pronunciation at the lesson, it can be really fun because you can incorporate different activities, you can even create some competitions, especially with young learners, and it might not be that boring as it seems at the beginning. So what about when? If we talk about our lessons, Green Country lessons, when exactly do we need to teach pronunciation? What do you think, guys? At what stage of the lesson?
When introducing new vocabulary?
Okay, so let's take a look. So there are 3 ways how we can integrate pronunciation practice into our lesson. The first thing that we can integrate it into the lesson and it can become a part of MVP system, meaning, form, and pronunciation. So for example, we've got 3 types of lessons. Yes, three systems. We need to teach vocabulary, functional language, and grammar. Let's start with vocabulary. You've got the word library. When it comes to meaning, you need to explain what the words means. Then you need to move on to pronunciation. And here you need to talk about the syllables, that the number of syllables this word has, and where to put a word stress. For example, the word library has 3 syllables and the stress falls on the first syllable. After you have introduced this structure, after you have written the transcription on the board and you have marked the word stress, you can drill this word with your students. And then you move on to form. And at this stage, you need to explain that the word library is a noun, it is countable, and the plural form is libraries, and you can even introduce some collocations that they can later use in speech. What about functional language? When it comes to pronunciation, do we work with syllables? Do we work with a word stress when it comes to functional language and grammar, for example? What features of pronunciation do you think we need to work with?
Intonation.
And sentence stress, not word stress.
Yeah, so let's look at this example. So we've got the structure. Would you like a cup of coffee? Yes, we start with the meaning, and we introduce that this structure can be used to offer something, for example, at the restaurant or just in any situation. Then you introduce the form that after this structure we use either noun or infinitive with to. Would you like to drink a cup of coffee? Yeah. Would you like to go to the cinema? And so on. And then we need to work with intonation. And as you can see, we've got yes or no question. Yeah. So when it comes to yes or no question, the intonation rises. So will we get, would you like a cup of coffee? Would you like a cup of coffee? If you have, for example, a special question, then the intonation will be falling. So it will fall. So you need to work with intonation with this feature. When it comes to grammar, somebody has already mentioned, we need to work with sentence stress. That is, as usual, we start with the meaning. We explain what does this sentence mean. Then we move on to the form. We need to present how to make sentences, how to make positive, negative questions, what form of the verb do we need to use. And after that, you can outline some pronunciation features. For example, in this sentence, we've got a phrasal verb, gone out. And if it's a phrasal verb, the stress usually falls on the preposition. So we need to stress preposition and the adverb just. So we'll get he's just gone out, he's just gone out, and drill the structure with your students. Another way of teaching pronunciation is working on it while giving feedback. There are 2 types of feedback. Who can tell me which are they?
On accuracy and on content.
Okay, even in terms of time.
On the spot and
and
delayed.
And
Yes, it can be immediate and delayed. So, for example, if your students are working in the breakout rooms, they're discussing something, which type of feedback will you use? Immediate or delayed?
Delayed.
Delayed.
Or if it's an open class activity and you nominate students to answer some questions or to pronounce the words, and the first person to answer makes a mistake in the word library, will it be delayed or immediate feedback?
Immediate.
And you can engage other students to drill the word with you so that in future they can omit making the similar mistake. And of course, you can teach pronunciation as a separate stage. Those who who had some experience working with steps, you might remember that in starting from step 1 to step 8, if I'm not wrong, we have this pronunciation practice as a separate stage, and also in boosters, in steps, it comes either at the beginning of the lesson or in the middle. In boosters, it usually it comes at the end of the lesson. But what about notes? Do we have pronunciation practice as a separate stage in notes? Do we have any pronunciation practice at all?
Maybe
Well,
some mustn't like this. Maybe can't different accents.
So is it a separate stage or it's a part of MPP?
Part of empathy.
Yeah, so it is integrated into the lesson, and we usually work with pronunciation after we have introduced some structures and we have worked with their meaning and form. That is right. How to continue. Right. And now let's move on to how. How can we teach pronunciation? What is the best way to teach pronunciation? What do we usually do?
Drill the words.
Yes, so pronunciation is all about drilling, but to make this drilling successful, we need to know the structure of a successful drill. So firstly, we need to give an example. We need to model it. For example, the word library, yeah? You write this word on the board and you give them the correct way, the correct pronunciation. After that, you need to highlight. And what do we mean by highlighting? What do you think? What is meant by highlighting? We've got the word library. We need to highlight something. What do we highlight?
The sound that is mispronounced.
Okay, if we are working with the sounds, yeah, we can highlight the sound. For example, sheep and sheep. Or we can highlight the sentence stress, yeah, using different symbols, either squares or circles. And we need to write 3 syllables, for example, 3 syllables, and show that the first syllable is stressed, yeah, and then drill this word according to this structure that you have highlighted. When it comes to sentences, not just separate words or sentences, you need to highlight some words which are going to be stressed, or intonation, if it's rising intonation or falling intonation. And you can do it again with the mark on the board. You can use humming for intonation to show that intonation rises or falls. You can use clapping or snapping when you drill the sentences and you need to stress the word. I will later show you some video and you will see how it works when we will be talking about word stress. So after you have highlighted the structure, yeah, you have explained them, what syllable should be stressed, for example, you need to start drilling. And there are plenty of drilling techniques, and we're going to discuss them with you now. That's why you need to go back to the worksheet I have sent to you before, and you need to find task 2. I have added some commonly used drilling techniques. You need to work with your colleagues one more time and identify these techniques, what technique it is, yeah? So I will duplicate the link one more time, and you will have, again, 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes to complete this task. So join the room, please. Salamia, please join the room.
Salamia, can you hear me? Salamia?
Okay, so I think that we can start checking. So the first example, what drilling technique is it? Nastya Bosch, maybe you can tell us.
Yes, I would say that this is voice shift.
Yeah, so voice variations. Yeah, we can use different variations. Have you guys tried this variation, this technique?
Yes, with
Can
yes.
we use it with higher levels? Can we use it with notes?
Just for
Not
fun.
really.
Why not?
Yeah, if you have a group of easygoing students and you have a good rapport, you can use it just to have fun and to drill some words or sentences. Okay, the next one. What's your name? My name is, and so on. What drilling technique is it? So this is a chain drill. You can put your students, if you work offline, you can put your students into a circle, yes, and one by one they have to ask the same question and drill the structure. For example, if you work online, you can nominate the first student to ask somebody the question, and then they need to continue. The person who has just answered has to ask another student the same question. In such way, they also drill the structure. What about this? England to England, been to England. What drilling technique is it?
Back chaining.
Yes, so there are two types of chaining. Yeah, front chaining and back chaining. This one is back chaining. Okay, what about this one? Have you ever been to Italy? Yes, I have. When did you go there? Last year. What drilling technique is it? What do you think?
Q&A.
Yeah, question and answer is like mini dialogues. Yeah, where this technique is used to drill some questions, to drill some grammar structure and perhaps functional language. What about this? The technique where students make positive sentences, change them into negative, into questions, and so on.
Transformational.
Right. Okay. What about this example?
Substitution.
Yeah, right. What about the example when students change the prompt to make true sentences for themselves? Have you ever tried this drilling technique?
Yeah.
So this one is called True for You drill. It's an easy one. Yeah, so you can use this technique even at your first lessons to break the ice and also to drill some structures. For example, I usually write such structures as with the teenagers, of course, I'm keen on, I can't stand, yes, and then I write examples about myself. I'm keen on doing yoga, I can't stand cleaning. And then I ask them to write the same sentences about themselves or to say sentences about themselves. Yeah, what is true for them. In such way, we drill the structure, we drill this grammar structure. Okay, and there is also one more drilling technique when we ask all students to say the target sentence simultaneously. You can conduct this activity open class, or you can give it as a separate task to work in the breakout rooms when you give them the cards with sentences and they have to pronounce these sentences at the same time with the correct intonation and the correct sentence and word stress. And you can also use drill tables. Do you know what it is? Have you ever heard of this drill table?
We have some in the books.
Well, it looks like a grammar table, yes, from the first side, but it's not. And it can be used for drilling. For example, let's imagine that you have already introduced some grammar structure. Your grammar structure, and it was past simple. You have worked with the meaning, you have worked with the form, and you have already practiced some basic pronunciation features, but you understand that it's not enough, and you want to practice more before you ask your students to do some tasks aimed at freer practice. So you need to practice pronunciation more, so you can use drill tables, and it is conducted in such way. For example, you choose any type of sentence. For example, I want to choose positive, then I choose any subject, let it be we, and I choose go to school. And since our active grammar structure is past simple, the student has to make sentence in past simple, but the student has limited time. Yeah, he can't think for 2 minutes, just up to, I don't know, up to 1 minute, maybe even 30 seconds. So we went to school. Then you change, you choose another student, and you choose, for example, negative, Peter, and I don't know, get up early. And this time the student has to make a question in past simple. Did Peter get up early? And then you ask all students to repeat, and you continue doing it until your students can make a sentence correctly and until they are fluent at this. Yeah. So in such way you practice past simple and you practice connected speech, and sometimes you can even work on the intonation depending on the type of sentence, if it's a question or if it's a negative one or just a positive sentence. And let's move on, and let's discuss what exactly we teach when it comes to pronunciation. We will already mentioned some features that we usually teach, so maybe you can summarize it. What aspects of pronunciation do we teach?
I guess
Sounds, words.
intonation.
Yes, so when it comes to separate words, we work with sounds, yeah, how to identify different sounds, how to differentiate them, and so on. Long sounds, long vowels, short vowels, and so on. When it comes to sentences, we work with sentence stress, intonation, and of course, we work with connected speech. So we're going to discuss each of these features in details, and we will try to do some tasks with you. So let's start. Let's have some practice with you. Okay, let's look at this picture. What sound do we need to choose in the word cheese?
One
Second.
second.
Yes, and
Okay.
what about this?
The first.
Oh, I didn't show you, sorry. My mistake. Yes, so what feature, what pronunciation feature is shown on this slide?
Long and short sounds.
Yes, and when it comes to sounds, this is something that we cannot neglect, and we cannot give it as a homework for our students, and we need to deal with it in class so that we can help our students differentiate long and short sounds, voiced and unvoiced, vowels and consonants, and we need to spend some time. We usually have these tasks in steps because at this levels, they usually learn the sounds, they learn how to read, and the sounds can be also an important feature of the grammar or lexis being taught. One of the common examples, past simple. What sounds do we need to work with when we teach past simple?
Like ed in the end.
So because our students often make mistakes, and you might hear cook it instead of cooked, watch it instead of watched. Yes, so they think that if the word has ending ed, it should always be pronounced as ed. Yeah, it should always have this sound. That's why you need, if you understand that such need arises, that your students mispronounce these words, these verbs, after you have introduced this grammar topic, you need to spend time, you need to react to it, and listen to some recordings. There are plenty of videos on the internet or on YouTube, and teach them how to differentiate the sounds and how to pronounce these verbs, these regular verbs. You can also introduce the sounds and work with the sounds with the help of phonemic chart. Has anyone ever worked with it?
No.
So we usually use it to introduce, so phonemic chart is a set of sounds in English, and we use it to introduce the sounds. Because sometimes when we learn new word, the spelling of the word doesn't tell us exactly how the word should be pronounced. That is why it's better to use the phonemic chart to highlight the sound that is being taught, that perhaps some problematic sounds in this word, and demonstrate it on the chart. And later you can use this chart to differentiate some sounds, to drill the words and play some activities. For example, one of the activities that can be used, that can be conducted using a phonemic chart, is a sound dictation. You give the cards with the words that the students have studied and with the sounds from this phonemic chart, and they have to read these words to each other, and then they have to compare if they have written the words correctly. They cannot, they can only hear the word and its correct pronunciation, but they don't know how to write it. So using this phonemic chart, they will be able to understand how to pronounce and how to write this word, how the sound is represented in the word itself. And of course, you can play some different games like naming the sound. As students have to raise the card with the word, or they have to run to the card and touch it. But you say the word and they have to touch the sound, if we talk about offline classes. If we talk about online classes, again, you can, for example, show the sound and the students need to say the word, or they need to write the word in chat. Or you can use some videos on the internet and the students have to repeat. We usually use this chart at the starting levels when we begin teaching sounds. Another way to teach sounds is with the help of drilling and repetition. We have already discussed some drilling techniques, and you can also use associations to teach different sounds. Let's see how it works. For example, you need to teach the sound ow, and there is no better way than to demonstrate with your facial expression the sound ow. Let's imagine that you've cut your finger, or you've shut your finger in the door, and what expression do you usually make? Yeah, like ow. So you while teaching the sound, you can use your emotions, your gestures to show, and then you can ask your students to pronounce some words that contain the sound using their emotions, using their facial expression, like ouch. And every time they have this sound, they need to do something with their face. Yes, they need to pull a special expression. Another sound is like whoop. You can introduce it by shaping your mouth if you're going to whistle, like whoop, whoop, and you can ask your students to repeat. And also then you may start practicing by using different vowels after whoop, like we, whoop, wow, wouch, and so on. So it's actually fun, and you can try doing it with younger learners, with your kids. They will be thrilled, I don't know, yeah, to do something silly. And now we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about sentence stress. In English, all of the words have different stress, and sometimes some of the words that can be both nouns and verbs can have different stress as well. So we're going to watch one video with you, and you will have to identify what syllable the stress falls on. Yeah, which syllable is stressed in this word. So let's watch it.
Increase.
Sorry, let's start from the beginning.
Increase. Increase. Or. Increase. Increase.
So, the first example, what part of speech is it?
Noun.
And when it comes to nouns, where does the stress fall? What syllable does the stress fall on?
First.
And what about the verbs, as in the second example in this video?
Second.
Right. So, let's go back. Some technical issues. So if this is a verb, how will we pronounce it? Will it be increase or increase?
Increase.
What about this? If this is a noun, how will we pronounce it? No. The second.
Object.
Okay. And if it's a verb?
Object.
Object. Yeah. Right. So when a syllable is stressed, it often has some influence on our voice. Our voice changes, and the syllable, mainly it's vowels are usually stressed. The syllable is lengthened. There are three types of stress. The stress can fall on the first syllable, as in the word substitute. It can be in the middle, as in the word banana, and it can fall on the last syllable, as in the word kangaroo, for example. And remember, I've been talking about this highlighting some features of pronunciation when we need to drill. For example, you can use clapping when you introduce a word stress. So here is the word kangaroo. You need to teach your students that we need to stress the last syllable. You can use clapping like kangaroo, and you need to stress the last syllable and make your clapping loud, for example. So we're going to look at some tips which we can use to teach word stress. Watch the video attentively and then be ready to tell me which of them you've used during your lessons with your students.
Hello and welcome to the Teachers Room, the show that's by teachers for teachers. I'm Dan.
And I'm Shan. And this episode's topic is... So, are you stressed about teaching word stress, Dan?
No, not really. I think of all the areas of pronunciation, it's the one that I'm most comfortable with.
And it's important, isn't it?
It is
important. It
important.
can cause embarrassment, it can cause confusion if a
Misunderstanding.
student gets it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, please, after you. Ladies first.
Can't remember what I was going to say now.
Well, you might say something about marking word stress for new vocabulary.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
Imagine
that was
that.
the point I was going to make. So don't forget, when you're writing new words on the board, particularly ones that, you know, the word stress causes confusion, don't forget to mark it.
That's right. You should use the same colours and shapes and try and use a visually clear and consistent style. What kind do you like?
I use circles. I like circles. How about you?
I'm a box kind of guy. I like squares, rigid.
You're very square.
That's right. You just insult me.
Subtly. Happiness. Happiness. Happiness.
Very good.
Happiness. Also, encourage your students to be independent so they can mark stress in their notebooks to help them in the future, and show them how to look it up in a dictionary so they can find out for themselves.
With more advanced learners who know a little bit more about word stress, it might be worth highlighting the difference between major stress and minor stress.
Ooh, difficult.
Difficult stuff. In a dictionary, it looks like this.
Ah. So how do you make word stress fun in your class?
I like to use a variety of physical methods and make a bit of a joke out of it, because everybody writes down the word stress, but by getting them to do things, especially kinesthetic learners.
I'm a kinesthetic learner. I like movement.
There you go. So a bit of movement makes everybody laugh, and it's a bit of a giggle together, and they'll remember. It's much more memorable.
Yeah, so you can use like clapping and tapping. Pronunciation.
You can use humming and whistling. You can use humming and whistling.
Sound like a Nate Night show there. Use humming and whistling.
You can use humming and whistling.
I can't whistle though.
You can use humming and humming.
I can hum. Good whistling, Dan. You can also use whispering and shouting. Pronunciation.
You can use the rubber band method.
Oh, what on earth is the rubber band method?
You'll find out. Pronunciation.
You can even bounce.
Pronunciation.
Like all areas of English, there are rules and exceptions with word stress, so it can help to encourage students to notice these patterns and make them aware of it.
Certainly, with a few simple rules, you can help them increase their knowledge and help them to better pronounce unencountered words in the future.
Dan is a rebel.
You know it.
Behave, Dan.
Sorry.
Dan rebels.
Don't hate me for it.
So, where's the stress on the noun?
First
Dan?
one.
And then the verb?
Second one.
What's that?
It's a rule.
A pattern, a rule, yay.
Now, the tips we've just mentioned are just our ideas.
And we know that you have...
Okay, so let's stop here. So what are some tips that were mentioned in this
Lots
video?
of great tips to share.
How can we teach word stress? What can we do to make it more efficient?
Like with different sounds or physical activities.
So what activities can be used to highlight the word stress?
You can change your voice techniques or create some different sounds. Yeah, or in offline lessons, you can jump or I know do something with your hands. Yeah.
Not only in offline lessons, you can also do it in online lessons, but only if students are working with their cameras, right? So it can be a fun way. And what else can we do to teach word stress? What do we need to teach our students when it comes
to notice these words? Like
yes,
the differences between like nouns and verbs and so on.
You need to teach them that depending on the part of speech, the words might have different stress. And that is something that we are going to do with you. We are going to practice a little bit. So go to our worksheet and find task 3. There you can see some tendencies, general tendencies for word stress in English. I'm going to play different audios for you. You need to listen attentively and identify the word stress. And then you will go to the breakout rooms and you will compare it with your group mates. So let's start with the first one. Okay, I hope that you're ready. I'm sorry, some technical issues. Let's just wait for a while. It's loading.
Present, export, China, present, export, China, table, present, slender, clever, happy.
Okay, the audio was lagging, so let's listen to it one more time.
Present, export, China, table, present, slender, clever, happy.
Okay, let's move on to the second with the verbs.
Present, export, present, export, decide, begin.
Okay, the next one, graphic, television, and so on.
Graphic, geographic, geologic, television, revelation.
Then the words that start with the word democracy,
Democracy, dependability, photography, geology, critical, geological.
And the last set of words.
Blackbird, greenhouse, bad-tempered, old-fashioned, understand, overflow.
Okay, so now I'll put you to the breakout rooms and you will have to compare if you have identified the stress correctly. If you feel like listening to the audio one more time, I'm going to send you the link to the folder where you can find these audios and listen to them one more time. So the link to the folder is in chat. Join the rooms and discuss the word stress. So you will have around 6 minutes for this activity.
Nice. The link is only for the first audio, I guess.
Oh, so then I have to close the rooms. Yeah, how can I do this, right? Okay. So the link to the folder is in chat. Try opening each place. Do you see all the audios or just one?
Oh,
No. Yeah. But now let's wait for others to return from the breakout rooms. I will send the link to the folder once again and you will join because it was my mistake. So just 10 seconds more.
Can you send the links to the tasks as well?
Yes, dear teachers, I'm terribly sorry. I sent you the link only to the first audio. I will send you the link to the folder with the audios. So here is the link to the folder. Please check if you can find all the audios in this folder, and I will duplicate the link to the task as well. Yeah? So can you find all of the audios in the folder I've just sent? Good. So the same task? 6 minutes, sorry. Join. Mary, please join the breakout room.
Oh, sorry, I don't see the invitation.
I will send it to you now.
Okay.
So, dear colleagues, was it easy or difficult for you to identify the word stress? What do you think? Did you have any challenges? Did you struggle with it?
Maybe 50-50.
So let's wait for others and then we will check. Just 10 seconds more. Okay, so let's check if you're good at identifying word stress. If we have nouns and adjectives with 2 syllables like China, happy, clever, father, the stress falls on
The first.
Yeah. Okay, if we have verbs with 2 syllables, begin.
Second. On the
Okay,
second.
good. But if we have, let me go to this worksheet, like such words as present or present, export, the stress falls on
First to second is what's the part of speech.
Yeah, right. If it's a noun, the stress is on the first. If it's a verb, the stress is on the second. Okay. If we have such words as cassette, shampoo, the stress falls on
The last one.
The last syllable.
Yeah, it falls on this suffix because these words are adopted from other languages. Yeah. What about the words such as graphic, television, geologic, the words that end in ik, in ion, it, ish, the stress falls.
Syllable.
What?
Very last syllable, I guess. The second from the end.
Yes, it's called, oh my God, it's not working. It's called penultimate syllable. It's the second from the end. What about words that have more than 3 syllables? The stress falls on such words as democracy, critical, geological. What is the tendency here?
The third from the end.
Right, and this syllable, the third from the end, is called antepenultimate. What about compound words? We've got such words as blackbird, greenhouse, door handle.
On the first syllable, but if it's an adjective, not this, but other words. So on the second word.
Like old-fashioned, bad-tempered, that's right. Okay, that is good. And now we've already watched this video, let me skip it. We're going to talk about sentence stress. So English is a time-stressed language. It means that not all of the words are stressed out, but only the ones that convey the meaning. So if we look at this sentence, which of the words convey some information important for understanding? What do you think? Which words should be stressed in this sentence?
My car.
What else?
Gone to France.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So let's listen and check. Here is the audio.
Will you sell my car because I've gone to France?
Yes, so you were right. So the word sell is stressed, the word car, gone, and also the word France. So these are the words that that convey the meaning, and we call them content words. The words that do not possess any meaning are called structure words. So if we talk about content words, These are usually nouns, as the word car, yeah, main verbs, sell, gone, negative auxiliaries such as haven't, didn't, isn't, modals, intensifiers, adjectives, and pronouns in tag questions. The words that are not stressed are usually function words, pronouns, if it's not important, of course, some auxiliary verbs, but only if they are positive, prepositions, conjunctions, and linkers. So, for example, if we just remove this structure, this function word, the structure words from this sentence, will we still understand the meaning? Sell car, gun, France. Will you be able to understand the meaning? Like the general meaning, yeah. But if we remove content words, the sentence will make no sense. Will you, my, because, I, to. Yeah, that's why we stress only content words, the words that are important for general understanding of a sentence. And apart from sentence stress, there is also an emphatic stress. So let's look here. So here is the sentence. I asked you to buy a box of chocolate cookies. If we want to add an emphatic stress, it means that we want to emphasize a certain word to add some additional meaning, yeah? So for example, if the question is, who did I ask? Which word will we highlight? Which word will be stressed?
You.
And how will we pronounce it? How will we read the sentence with a stress on the word you?
I asked you to buy me a box of chocolate cookies.
Okay. What did I ask you to do with the cookies? What word will be stressed?
Buy.
So maybe Vladislava, can you read the sentence with the stress on the word buy?
I asked you to buy me a box of chocolate cookies.
Okay. What did I ask you to buy? What will be stressed?
Box. A box.
Julia, you're welcome. Julia Sidun, if I'm not mistaken, can you read?
I asked you to buy me a box of chocolate cookies.
Yeah, you need to stress, yeah? A box of chocolate cookies, to stress this, what a box of chocolate cookies, yeah? Who asked you to buy the cookies?
I.
Right. What flavor of cookies did I ask you to buy?
Chocolate.
Right. And whom did I ask you to buy the cookies for?
Me.
Yeah.
Me.
So it's important to spend some time using emphatic stress if you want to emphasize different sentences, if you want to convey different meaning, and you may use this activity with your students just to have some fun during some, I don't know, icebreakers, yeah? And you can also ask them to pronounce the words not only with the stress on certain words, but also with different voice, yeah, and intonation. Okay, that's good. And we are moving on to intonation with you. And we will start with some tests. I will play the audio for you, and your task will be to identify which intonation is used in each sentence. Yeah, how does the speaker sound in each situation? So let's try to do it. Okay, let's start.
Listen. 1. You did?
So how does the speaker sound in this situation? You did?
Inquiring.
Yeah, kinda. Oh my God, it's not working. Curious.
A little surprised.
Surprised, curious, inquiring something, questioning, right. Next.
2. You did?
What about this?
Shocked. Shocked.
Okay, let's see. Surprised, yes. Shocked. Next.
3. You did.
What about this intonation?
Disappointed.
A little bit disappointed.
Yes, wonderful. Next,
4. You did.
what about this?
Scared, worried.
Angry, like not angry, but not satisfied.
Yes, angry, not satisfied. And the last one?
5. You did.
And the last one?
Stating.
Yeah, so just agreeing, yeah, being in agreement. So when it comes to intonation, it's not only about what we say, but how we say. By using different intonation, we add our emotions, and with the help of it, people are able to understand our thoughts and our expressions. And of course, depending on what emotions we add or what intonation we use, the level of voice might change. So, for example, and the meaning might change. Yeah, as you've heard if you've just heard in the recording, that when you're angry, your voice is different from the level of your voice when you're pleased or when you're curious and satisfied. So let's look at some common rules. As you know, there are two main types of intonation: falling intonation and rising intonation, and it may differ depending on the type of sentence or question. So we are going to work with you in pairs one more time. Go back to task 4. There you can see some examples, and your task will be to identify whether the intonation is rising or falling in each example, and try to practice it in your groups. Yeah, try to pronounce the sentence or the question with the correct pronunciation, rising or falling. So I will send the worksheet to you one more time. Open it and join the breakout room. You will have just 4 minutes for this activity.
Can I have a bit of egg? Can
Sorry, I have very, very bad internet. I can't join my room.
Okay. Let's wait just 30 seconds more. Okay, everyone is back, so I think that we can start checking. So if we have special questions, our intonation is falling or rising?
Falling. Rising.
Falling, yeah.
Falling.
Yes, and if we have yes, no questions, then our intonation is rising. Yeah. When it comes to question text and we know and we already know information, we just need to confirm it, as in this example.
Falling. Falling.
Yes, and we actually need to know the answer. We are not sure. The intonation is rising. What about statements?
Falling.
Falling.
What about imperatives when you give orders or instructions?
Also falling.
Right. And if you are listing things?
Maybe rising.
Falling and then rising.
No, it's rising and falling.
Yes.
Rising.
Rising and falling.
Yeah, we start with the rising intonation and then it falls closer to the end. Okay, wonderful. And when it comes to teaching intonation, there are some tips. Let's watch this video and find out how we can teach intonation.
Difficulty with intonation, which makes them sound rude.
Sorry, let's start from the beginning. Do you hear it?
Yeah.
Good.
Hello and welcome to the Teachers Room, the show that's by teachers, for teachers.
I am Shan and this is Dan, and this episode's topic is Now, our introduction was quite flat, wasn't it, Dan? It wasn't great.
We lacked intonation.
Exactly. And some of your students may also have difficulty with intonation, which makes them sound
rude,
bored, boring,
uninterested.
So you need to help them.
That's right.
Them with intonation.
Especially when you're doing things like grammar or functional language such as speaking. You can mix in a little bit of intonation throughout your lesson.
And have fun with intonation. You can, for example, use humming dialogues. You can also give students one sentence and get them to say it in lots of different ways to highlight different emotions. What are you doing?
Surprised. What are you doing?
Annoyed? Angry?
Yeah.
Mario?
What are you doing?
Romantic. In love.
Romantic. And finally, you can extend this idea to create role plays. Get the students to write mini dialogues and then have them annotate those dialogues with emotions and practice the intonation.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
Okay, thank you, Dan. I also like to include activities to highlight and practice contrastive stress.
Ah, that's really good because that allows students to correct wrong information that's been said to them or highlight keywords within their own sentence. What kind of activities?
You can do lots of fun games with this, like correct me. Mario bought a dog yesterday.
Mario bought a frog yesterday.
No, Mario bought a dog yesterday.
Ah, Maria bought a dog yesterday.
No, Mario bought a dog yesterday.
Oh, Mario stole a dog yesterday.
No, Mario bought a dog yesterday.
While it's not a good idea to get deeply into the theory of intonation with students, you can teach them some general rules and raise their awareness of these features.
For example, what happens with WH word questions, Dan?
I believe they go down. Is it the same for yes/no questions?
They go up.
Ah.
And with question tags, when you're confirming information you already know, you use falling intonation. Don't you, Dan?
That's correct. And with lists... Okay, Sean, read the list.
Okay, so I bought an apple, a banana, a cat, and a dog.
Very good.
Finally, do not be afraid to be dramatic with intonation, over the top.
Yeah. We're really excited to be able to give you one of these t-shirts.
But please send us a tip.
Okay, so when it comes to teaching intonation, it's important to outline the main rules. Yeah. So if we have yes/no question, the intonation rises. If we have special question, the intonation falls. If we have list, it rises and then falls. And we can even demonstrate it on the board as it was shown in the video. What are some other activities that can be used to work with intonation? Some fun activities that were described in this video.
Humming dialogues.
Humming dialogues, yes.
What else?
Maybe
Apart
some
from this?
role plays, role dialogues, mini dialogues.
Yeah, when you have to express different emotions, that's something that I remember when I played the audio for you, you had to identify the emotions, yeah? So that you can ask your students to do the same. They will have to read these dialects with different emotions. The first time, as if they are both angry. The second time, as if only one person is angry, the other one is satisfied. So it can be really fun. So, and we are going to continue.
A video.
And I will play one recording for you now, and you will have to identify the pronunciation feature in this recording. So, give me a second to open it. Okay. And
Can I have a bit of egg? 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 Can I have a bit of egg?
okay, so what pronunciation feature did you hear in this recording? What was it? It wasn't about intonation. What was it about?
Speed.
Speed. What else?
Like the ending of the word changes.
Did this person pronounce all the words separately, or the words were linked to each other? They were kind of blended.
Linking sound.
Yes, so this is called the connected speech, when we do not pronounce the words like separately, but we connect them one to another. And so it's also connected to the stress. So those words which are not stressed, they join up with the stressed words, and this is how the connected speech is formed. And there are some tendencies, some elements of connected speech. Let's work with these elements together. Open place task 4, and let's look at the sentences here. If we take the first sentence, and I have highlighted the structure, have to. If we pronounce it in the sentence, what will happen? How will we pronounce it in the sentence?
Have to.
Yeah, so it's kind of blended together. So the feature is assimilation, yeah? So we change the sound at the end of the word and we pronounce it not like have to, but have to. Okay, what about I saw a bird? I saw a bird. What happens here? I saw a bird. I saw a bird. Do you hear some additional sound? I saw a bird. Try to pronounce
Right.
it.
Sorry.
Yes, right. So intrusive R, yes, we added between a word ending in and word starting with a vowel. Yeah, I saw a bird. I saw a dog. Okay, what about go and play? Go and play. What sound can you hear? Go and play. Hmm?
It's like what? Go up.
Yeah, yes, right. So intrusive work, yeah, we add work. Okay, when our word ends in O, we add word, go and play. Okay, what about this computer is new. The other computer is about 5 years old. The other. What sound can you hear?
E.
Yes, right. We add sound here. What about next month? Next month. I'm traveling to the USA next month.
No T.
Yeah. Okay, we drop a sound T in the next month, and I've got an idea.
Maybe N is doubled or something like this.
I've
And
got an idea.
I guess the sound is longer.
So we blend the article with the word, so we join the sounds, and it becomes like one word, an idea. Yes, not an idea, but an idea. I've got an idea. So it's essential to teach students how to connect the words with each other in a sentence, because it will help them to be understood by other people, and they will sound like natives, not like native speakers, but they will sound like more natural. Yeah, they will be able to pronounce the words correctly and link them in sentences. So, and if you want to use some activities to practice connected speech, you can use some grammar charts and ask them to blend the words. You can use drilling techniques and video worksheet activities. That's when they have to listen to some audios and then mark which words are linked to each other, yes? Which words they need to pronounce together, what sounds they can add. So that's it. I hope that you were listening attentively, and it's time to practice. So in the worksheet, which I have sent, if you scroll down to the end of it, you will see some extra materials. Here is the book with some pronunciation games and tongue twisters that you can use during your lessons. And here is the website with some pronunciation games, but I wasn't able to open some tasks, but perhaps it's just problem with, with my computer, because when I open it, it shows me that I have an outdated version of Adobe Flash Player. But if you have a new one, maybe you will be able to use this website and play some of the pronunciation games online with your students. You can also read this article. There you will find some other tips and tricks and some examples of pronunciation games. And now let's practice. You will be working in groups. I want you to open a lesson plan, but the ones that doesn't have pronunciation practice as a separate stage. For example, it can be some lesson plans from notes or steps starting from step 11, I guess. You won't find it as a separate stage. I want you to think what pronunciation features should be practiced based on the topics that are being discussed in this lesson, some grammar, vocabulary topics. And then I want you to work together and brainstorm some activity that can be used to practice these pronunciation features, taking into consideration the system of drilling: model, highlight, drill, and then practice. And I want you to consider the age and level of your students. So you will have 8 minutes for this task, and then I will put you in bigger groups and you will have to present this activity to other teachers. Do you have any questions about the task you need to do? No questions? Okay, then I'll put you in the breakout rooms now. Okay. Join the rooms.
I'm so sorry, I again have troubles to join.
You can, maybe I will try to put you into another room.
No, the problem is that I have really poor connection.
No.
I'm
Okay,
without
then-
electricity and that's
Then
why.
you have no other option but to stay here. And that's it.
Okay.
You can think of some activity on your own, and maybe then when others are ready, maybe you will be able to join the room and present this activity.
Maybe, but I can't open any links and any sites.
Okay,
because
then just
I've opened Zoom and that's all.
okay, I understand. No problem.
So I wanted to say that I have a lesson in 8 minutes, so I need to go.
Okay, no worries, Tasha. Just leave.
Goodbye. Have a nice evening.
Anastasia and Dalak, have you finished?
Yeah.
Naila, Ola, and Demira, have you?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you repeat, please? Because I was connected to my Wi-Fi, so I didn't hear what you said.
I was just asking if you have finished, but Elmira has already answered.
Yes, we have.
Okay. Alessia, Yulia, Kate, have you finished? Have you prepared an activity? Good. So we're waiting for everyone to leave the breakout room, and then I will put you in bigger groups, and you will have to present your activity to other teachers, to other groups. Okay, just 5 seconds more. Okay, good. So I hope that everyone, each group is ready with an activity. So I will put you in bigger groups. I will combine the groups and you will have to present your activity to other groups. So give me a few minutes to combine the groups. Okay, just one more minute. Okay, so now join the rooms and share your activities with your colleagues. Good luck. Okay, so I see that we've got some fast finishers. So can you share which activities did other groups come up with?
Unfortunately, I can't right now show this because I'm not sure what step it was in the task, but like it was the reading task, and the teachers came up with a with the idea that they would practice this also open class with students. They would first of all notice the mistakes that students make, then they would try to emphasize them, for example, put them down on the board, and then they would try to drill them all together with the students, like asking questions, making some sentences, like also the training, and like practicing this all together open class.
Right. And what about Maria's TEDAR group? Who can share something about them?
They've had like an activity that had a song. They wanted to practice like ing in the end of the word, like playing and stuff like that. So they decided to make a song like what are you doing? What are you doing? For example, I'm playing. I don't remember what was in your example. But
Yeah, so they basically created their own song. Yes, Yaroslava, you were presenting, or you were supposed to find it on the internet.
No, it's like to create a simple song for them
Just
to
a
repeat.
chant, yeah. Yeah, it was so amusing. I really like this idea. So the group that Yaroslava was in decided to make a song to drill present continuous. There was another group that decided to use some words that rhyme. I don't remember what group it was, but I've heard something like money and funny, look and book to drill some words. And there were some groups that have decided to work with intonation and with connected speech using some chain drilling and mini dialects. So all of your ideas and activities that you have suggested were interesting, and I hope that you will use them with your lessons, not just during our trainings, but also with lessons with young learners and with teenagers. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining. Thank you for working actively both in the breakout rooms and in open class. It was a pleasure working with you today. So if you have any questions, you may write them in chat, or you can just ask them directly.
Thank you.
And then we'll
Thank
call it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Then I wish you luck, and I hope and I wish you to have a productive and successful start of the semester.
You too.
Thank you.